and have that same level of respect, because you never know who you'll need and when you'll need it, and your help often comes from very unlikely places. So, I mean, we have all kinds of people that make it go around. A part of it, though, could be attributed to not knowing our history. Even in the age of Google, we don't know our history. And that makes it very confusing because they don't have to really search for it anymore. Type it in and it'll pop up. Or ask some of your elders, and and they'll gladly take you back to a place that they saw firsthand and tell you how it was, what they dealt with, what they went through. And we don't ask questions anymore. Like, we don't have those conversations. We shy away from it. We push it under the rug. We want to run from it. But then when it's something that really doesn't have anything to do with any of us, everyone has something to say. That's the one thing we have to, I think, really change. We have to be able to have those conversations. You're going to hear some things that you don't want to hear. Everybody's not going to tell you yes, but everybody's not going to tell you no either. So until you get to the point where you can actually sit down and talk with somebody, that's what we need to work on the most.
And Dean, you actually work in the, in addition to being on the show with me here every Monday, you actually work in the penal system. So part of the research that Dr. Stevenson does, you have to deal with it every day, because I'm sure that there is all kinds of racial psychology that exists in those penal systems with all the different divisions that we hear about, whether it's the Muslims, whether it's the African Americans, whether it's the skinheads, whether it's the whoever, the Latin Kings, whatever. There's all those kind of racial stereotypes actually exist in a microcosm in the penal system, I would imagine.
Well, an interesting observation that I've seen in the 19 years I've been behind the wall, and you named all of those different ethnic groups. You see Hispanic guys, Latino guys come in, brand new intake, and the guys that are there help them out. White guy comes in, all the white guys go over, help them out. Asian guy comes in, those Asian guys come over, help him out. Black man walks in, he's on his own until he may see one or two people that he knows. But it's amazing to watch, because you would think, okay, well, they're all in the same situation, right? Just because you're in the same situation doesn't mean that we are kindred spirits. You know what I mean? Like, you'll see a guy come in and he's just there. He makes acquaintances as he goes along. It doesn't automatically come to help him and give him something that he's missing or something that he may need until he has the means to get those things on his own. It doesn't happen that way. And like you said, the worst situation one could be in, and they still segregate themselves. And then when you throw gangs into the mix, it's further segregated. So it doesn't matter where we are. We have a weird tendency, and I had said to one of my friends, I said, I think togetherness died the same day Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated.
Wow.
No, everybody didn't agree. Yeah, they probably had some fights and arguments. They might have had fist fights, but you know what? They did that stuff behind a closed door. And when they came out, those that were there were at least on the same page. They didn't go out and give an ear to somebody else or try to bring someone else in. You had some people who ended up jumping over there and playing with the FBI, but the majority of individuals knew who the enemy was, knew what plan they wanted, and went to the table to say, hey, look, this is what's going on, and we don't particularly care for it, or will we deal with it, but we want to talk to y'all to see what kind of stuff y'all are thinking too. We don't even go to the table. Everybody's mad with President Obama. They're like, oh, he didn't do anything for black people. What did black people do for themselves? I mean, when you look at all of those races, different, I wouldn't even call it race. It's what everybody likes to be called. You named them at the beginning of the show. Everybody has a name now. Everybody has transgender, cisgender, all of these different names for people. But they went to the table and said, look, this is what we want. This is what we're looking for. Well, if somebody comes to the table and tells you that kind of stuff, you're like, all right, let me see if I can look at them. We didn't go to the table with too much. We waited for a wand to be waved and everything to be all right for black folks. So I guess my question is, when are we going to take care of us to ask for things that we are looking for? We can complain on Facebook all day long. But
and Dr. Steve, that actually brings up an interesting point Bean brings up, which is this whole concept of a lot of times we complain about the facts of the Asian community supporting their own, the Latin community supporting their own, and things of that nature. But for whatever reasons, we don't seem to want to support our own. So I was just wondering, from your research standpoint, how you counter that, or what kind of suggestions you give to make sure that we are actually supporting some of our own and not just letting folks fall into that stereotype of believing that, as you used the term before, the Kool-Aid, it's just going to be, the Asians will support the Asians, the Hispanics will support the Hispanics, the Greeks will support the Greeks, whatever other ethnicities are out there.
Yeah, I think this is very important. I feel like we don't. One thing that we can do more of is, in the sense of, like, when we were talking about young people don't know our history, is also the element of which have we told the stories? Have we been spending the time to tell the stories to our young people to appreciate why, it's important? And so the socialization strategy is to keep talking and, repeatedly impress upon our young people the importance of your own history and your own stories, and to tell us stories. We socialize young people, but young people also socialize us. And part of that includes why might we not support our own people? What's that about? Without blaming our people.
Right.
But holding them accountable. One thing to hold you accountable for,
right.
Taking care of family, taking care of whatever. It's another thing to say there's something wrong with you because you don't do it. And we've all learned the lesson there's something wrong with us. That is not a hard one to sell on somebody. But I do think there is a lesson in saying, how did this happen, and how can we begin to say our humanity is never on trial. We are as human as everybody, and every group has had to come in this country with a self-rejection in order to blend in, but no group has had the level of hostility against it as African Americans. Just to you take away the resources, you take away our abilities to make money in this country. You segregate us by housing after wars that we have fought in, and we see the results of that housing segregation relates to unemployment, and opportunities that relate to net wealth that we can pass on to our children. And when you think about that, you then say, "Man, how is it that we have come so far, as opposed to what's so lacking in our ability to care for ourselves?" So I think I would say, when you read the record of disadvantage that has been structural in our racism, you look at the victimology coming out of the White House that is unprecedented. The guy, you started the show, he's winning, but he's still a victim.
Right.
And that has been the claim for, folks of color, and especially black folks, that you're victims. And you have been through trauma. We have been through serious trauma. Nothing, how do you get a guy who wins and then complains as if he's been victimized? That's unique. The most powerful victim in the world. So I think that's where I would reframe. You know, what more? How many more stories do we need? We just need to keep telling our stories.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, we definitely appreciate you being on the show this evening and sharing a lot of what you've been doing in terms of your research. We hope that we can have you back on again in the near future because you definitely have some insightful things to say, and we definitely consider you part of the family. Once we bring a guest on, we consider them part of the family. So anytime that there's a Monday that you feel like calling in and sharing your insights, know that you are welcome to call in at any time. And if folks want to reach out to you, what's the best email that they can reach you if they have heard something that they would like to comment to you about or that they want to hear from you about?
If you go to Howard S. HOWARDS at UPenn.edu.
All right. So that's one of the ways that folks can get in touch with you and things of that nature. And, of course, you know, I know that Dean's a big sports fan, so the $6 million question he's going to ask you before we get off the air is, will the Eagles win again next year?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we'll still be underdogs, too, by the way.
Yeah, they'll still be underdogs as well?
Still be underdogs, yep.
Well, I can't talk. I'm a long-time Vikings fan, and Dean is a Ravens fan, so we'll just have to see how that all plays out in the new season because my team doesn't know what he wants to do. We just gave all our quarterbacks away, so we have no clue what the heck we were doing.
I know. Well, you know, we've been in the doghouse for a lot longer, so we're just happy. We don't.
Y'all are just trying to figure out if the Phillies and the Flyers can win as well one of these years. So then y'all will just have the whole trifecta completed then.
How about it? Yes. If the Sixers can do their thing, then it's going to be a crazy town.
Yeah, Philly will never be the same if the Sixers win, that's for sure. I thought that y'all were going to have mass riots when Villanova and the Eagles won. But if the Sixers win, y'all are going to, I had friends that drove all the way up from North Carolina just to be part of that because they grew up in that area. So I know that there are some diehard fans that were waiting for that to happen for a long time. So they were glad when it happened and made that trek up there. One of my friends, actually one of my mother's best friends, I think he took his daughter up there to be part of the festivities in the street. So I can definitely relate from the sidelines.
Right. Yes. Excellent. We're definitely a city of brotherly love now. We weren't questionable before, I think. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you very much.
All right. We appreciate you, Doc.
Take care, man.
All right, now. Yeah, that was a great conversation, bro. And
next week we've got Daryl Sober on the show. Daryl Sober will be on the show. He'll be a poet and things of that nature. And then the week after that, we've got Serena Sebring, who is a member of SONG that does a lot of women's rights and Black Lives Matter work and things of that nature. And she actually just won an award last week. So we'll be talking about the award she won as well. So she'll be in 2 weeks. So we've got some great guests coming as always.
Oh, yeah. And also, before we leave out, we got about 20 seconds left. Welcome to those listening all over the world and in the country of Zambia. We have picked up Zambia, so, welcome to the family, the voice of the people, Monday night, 7 p.m. Dean Geronimo and Mark Lee. We appreciate all of you, and we will see you next week.
See you next week. Have a good one.